So welcome back to the web technologies course. In previous class we are talking about the different types of objectives are there. Okay, what are the objectives? We are talking about the different types of implicit objects are there. With the help of these particular implicit objects we are communicating to the server machine. After communication is over, so what we are doing here, we are constructing the response and we are sending that particular response back to the server machine. We are sending that particular response back to the client machine, right? So we are getting the request from the client machine and we are taking that particular request and we are processing that particular request and we are sending that particular response back to the client machine with the help of these 9 different types of implicit object. This is what we are talking in a previous class. Okay, in previous class. Now in today's session we are going to discuss about the different types of directives. Okay, we are talking about the different types of directives. So here we are having the total 3 different types of directives are available in our JSP. Okay, in our JSP. So first one is a page directive, second one is a include directive, and third one is a tag lib directive. Okay, so first one is a page directive, second one is a include directive, and third one is a tag directive or tag lib directive. Okay, so quickly we'll dive into the page directive, what this particular page directive is doing, what is the role of this particular page directive in this particular JSP. First we'll see that one. So now quickly we'll dive into the page directive. This particular page directive defines a number of page dependent properties which communicates with the web container at the time of the translation. Okay, which communicates with the web container at the time of the translation. Means what here, this particular page directive defines all dependent properties. It defines all page dependent properties which communicates with the web container. We are communicating with the web container, right? We are communicating to the web container at the translation phase. We are communicating to the web container at the translation phase. So there what we are doing, there we are defining the what are the parameters are required. All those parameters we are defining here. Okay, we are defining all those parameters. Clear? So with the help of this particular page directive, what we are doing here, we are defining the number of page dependent properties. We are defining the number of page dependent properties for communicating to the web container, So when we are communicating to the web container at the translation phase or at the time of the translation. Right? So here in JSP processing we are having the 2 phases, right? First one is the translation phase. Second one is the, what is the second one? Second one is the compilation phase. Okay, second one is the compilation phase, right? So in this particular translation page, okay, so we are having the translation phase, right? So here what we are doing here, we are communicating to the web container. So in this particular translation phase we are communicating to the web container. How you are communicating? Okay, you required some properties, right? All those properties are defined by this particular page directive. Clear? All those properties are defined by this particular page directive at the time of the translation. Okay, at the time of the translation. So once again I am repeating here. So we are having the 2 phases, right? First one is the translation phase and second one is the communication phase. Okay, first one is the translation phase, second one is the compilation phase, right? In this particular translation phase, what we are doing here, we are translating the JSP code into the .java file or servlet code. Okay, we are translating or we are converting the .jsp code into the .java file or servlet file code. Clear? So there what we are doing, after that we are entering into the next phase, that is called the compilation phase. Okay, in this particular translation phase what we are doing, so we are communicating to the web container. Okay, so we are communicating to the web container. So if you want to communicate with the web container, what you want, you require some properties, right? All those properties are defined in this particular page directive. Okay, so what are the parameters or what are the properties required for the communicating to the web container? All those properties are defined at the page directive. Okay, in translation phase. Okay, all those parameters, all those properties are defined at the page directive at translation phase. Clear? So the syntax for the the syntax for the page directive is you are having the scriptlet open tag and close tag is there. After that, if you want to use the directive, you have to mention the directive name. After that you have to mention the directive name. After that you have to pass the attribute and attribute value. Okay, you have to pass the attribute and attribute value. This is the syntax for the page directive. Okay, how to pass the attribute and attribute value. So here we are having the three different types of parameters are there. So what are the attributes? We are having the three different types of attributes are there. So first one is the import attribute, second one is the language attribute, and third one is the content type attribute. Okay, so in our syntax we are having the attribute and attribute value is there, right? So here we are having the three different types of attributes are there. So first one is the import attribute, second one is the language attribute, and third one is the content type attribute. Okay, now we'll see all these things with examples. Okay, so first one is the import attribute. First one is the import attribute. Import attribute means what? If you want to import any packages in your JSP page, for that we are using this particular import attribute. Okay, now we'll see the syntax for this particular import attribute is you have to write your page name. Your page means what? Your directive name. After that import, and you have to pass your import value. Okay, import, and you have to pass that particular value. Okay, what type of package you want to use, that value you have to pass here. Okay, so next one is the language attribute. So in this particular language attribute means what type of language you are going to use in your JSP page. Okay, so whether you have to use the Java language or whether you want to use the another scripting language, that language you have to mention here. Okay, so here the syntax for this particular language is, so you have to mention the attribute name is the language, and here you have to pass your language name. Okay, so whether you are using the Java or some other language, that language you have to pass as a value. Okay, so and last one is a content type. Okay, what type of content you are using in your JSP page, whether you are using the HTML code or you are using the text code, that content information you have to pass here. Okay, the syntax here is, the syntax for this particular page is, here you have to pass the language. After that, see, this attribute is used to set the content for that particular JSP page. By default here that particular attribute is set to the text/HTML. We are using the HTML information in that particular page. Okay, now we'll see one example here. So in this particular example we'll write all these three attributes. Or we'll use all three attributes in this particular example. So what is that example? So here we are having the open scriptlet and close tag is there. Okay, so first what we are passing here, first we are passing the language attribute, and my language is the Java. Okay, after that what I am doing here, after that I am passing the content type. Okay, what type of content you are using? So here I am using the text/HTML. I am passing my content type, and what are the encoding characters you are using. Okay, so that information you have to pass. Okay, that information also you have to pass in this particular page directive. Okay, in this particular page directive. Clear? So next we'll see the include directive. So what is this particular include directive? This particular include directive used to copy the content of one JSP page to the another page. Okay, so we are using the one JSP page is there and another JSP page is there. You want to copy the second JSP page content in the one JSP page content. For that we are using this particular include directive. Okay, so for that we are using this particular include directive. Means what here, if you want to include any pages in your page, for that what we are using here is, for that we are using the include directive. Or the better example is, you are developing some website. Okay, you are developing some website, so there you want to use all your JSS scripts are there. Okay, you want to use all JSS scripts or CSS scripts in your web page. Okay, for that what you are doing, simply you are writing the script tag, or you are writing the link tag, there you are writing, and you are importing all those styles in your web page, right? That is the one process. Another process is, if you are using the JSP technology, so here directly you can include that particular file here. Directly you can write this particular tag. Directly you can write this particular tag. So what is this particular tag? This is a include directive tag. This is a include directive tag. So here you are having the attribute name. My attribute name is a file, and here you have to pass that particular file name. Okay, pass that particular file name, or one.css or one.jss. Okay, one.jsp, that file you want to pass here. Whatever the information you want to include in your page, so that files you have to pass here. Okay, so for that only this particular include directive we are using. Okay, for that only we are using this particular include directive. If you are using that particular files in the same directive, okay, if you are using all these one.jsp file or one.css file or one.js file, okay, if you want to include all those files, if all those files are available within the same folder, so simply you can pass the file name here, file name.jsp. okay, if this particular file is not working, or it is not importing the properly, or it is not including the properly, so in that case what you have to do here is, you have to pass your entire URL information. You have to pass here your entire URL information. Means what here, so my files are available in some D directive, right? So you have to pass the D:/ and CSS folder /1.css. okay, or if you are having the E directive file, E:/CSS. in that CSS one more folder is there, JS folder is there. In that JS folder I am having the one.js file. Okay, this is called the URL information. You pass this particular entire URL here in this particular file attribute. Clear? So that is about the include directive. So next we'll see the example. Okay, next we'll see one example. So here I'm having the one.jsp file. Okay, here I'm having the one.jsp file, and here I'm having the 2.jsp file is there. So here I'm having two different types of files are there. File 1 and file 2 is there. In this particular file 1, what I am doing here is, I am setting one name here. I am setting one name here, or I am defining some name here. Okay, but that particular name is a string data type. That particular name is a string data type. So what is my name? So here string. After that I am defining one attribute. Okay, after that I am passing that particular value there. Clear? So my name is Amar. So here what I am doing, I am saving that particular file with one.jsp file. Okay, now what I am doing here is, I am creating the one more page here. I am creating one more page. Okay, this is a page 1 and this is a page 2. This is a 1.jsp and this is a 2.jsp. Clear? In this particular 1.jsp I am defining name equal to some Amar. I am defining, or I am initializing name equal to Amar. So next what I am doing here, I am calling that particular page in this my 2.jsp file. I am calling that particular 1.jsp file in my 2.jsp file. So how to call that particular file? With the help of the include directive. With the help of the include directive, I am calling that particular file. How to call? @include file equal to 1.jsp. @include file equal to 1.jsp, right? So in this particular 1.jsp, what I am doing here, I am straight away calling that particular name parameter. Straight away I am calling that particular name parameter with the help of the expression tag. The help of the expression tag, I am calling that particular name parameter, right? So now what I am doing here, so whenever you are calling this particular name parameter, so whenever you are executing this particular 2.jsp, that particular name will be appeared in your 2.jsp file. Clear? That particular name will be appeared in your 2.jsp file, and this is the output for your 2.jsp file. Clear? Clear? So here, so with the help of include directive, what we are doing here, so by accessing the one page information in another page, with the help of the include directive. So next we'll see the tag directive. Next we'll see the tag library directive or tag lib directive. Okay, so what is this particular tag library directive? This particular JSP tag lib directive is used to define the tag library with tag name as a prefix. Or we can say that with the help of this particular tag directive or tag library directive, we are going to define our own custom tags. Okay, we can define our own custom tags, and we can call that particular custom tags with the help of this particular tag directive. Okay, so what we are doing here is, so we are defining or we are designing our own custom tags. Once your custom tag definition is over, defining is over, you have to call that particular tags, right? So with the help of this particular tag directive only, we are calling that particular custom tags or user defined tags we are calling with the help of this particular tag directive. Okay, with the help of this particular tag directive. So what is the syntax for this particular tag directive? So here we are having the open scriptlet, and we are having the close scriptlet is there. After that you have to call your tag directive, and here you are having the URI is there. What is that particular URI? URI is nothing but, so where you are storing that particular user defined tags. Okay, where you are storing that particular custom tags, that URL you have to provide here. That URI you have to provide here. Okay, after that, so where you want to use that particular tag, okay, where you want to use that prefix information you have to define here. That prefix information you have to write here. Clear? So this is about the tag directive or tag library directive. So here tag library directive means what? So you are designing the user defined tags or custom tags, right? You are defining the custom tags in your JSP. Now what you are doing here, now you are trying to accessing all those custom tags in your JSP page. Now you are trying to access all those custom tags in your JSP page. How you are accessing all those custom tags? With the help of the tag library. With the help of the tag library directive, you can access all those custom tags in your page, in your JSP page. Only one thing you have to remember here, if you want to use your custom defined tag in your JSP page, first what you have to do, first you have to define the prefix. After that only you can use that particular tag. Okay, for example, my tag name is Amar. So this is my tag name Amar. Okay, my tag name is Amar. Okay, so where you want to use that particular tag, so here you have to define that particular prefix value. You have to define here, you have to pass the prefix value here. Okay, so before Amar, so I am using the vfstr colon Amar. So if you call this particular vfstr colon Amar, so it will display that particular Amar tag information. Amar tag information will be displayed here. So in this particular URI, what we are doing here, URI means what here? URI means what? Yes, that is called the URI. So here what we are passing here, we are passing the information. What information we are passing here? So where you are storing that particular custom tags, that URI you have to pass here. Okay, that URI you have to pass here. So whenever your JSP page, whenever your JSP engine passes this particular JSP page, it will identify where that particular custom tag is available. So it will go to that particular library and it will verify whether the custom tag is available or not. Okay, after that it will come back and it will, if it is available, it will display that particular tag related information. If it is not available, it will raise one exception there. Clear? That's why we have to provide this particular URI information. Okay, URI means what here? Universal resource indicator. Okay, universal resource indicator, that is the URI. Clear? It is not URL, that is a URI that we have to pass here. Okay, so first we'll see. Okay, so first we'll see the one example here. So here what I'm doing here is I'm writing my tag library here. I'm passing the URI here. So this is my address where my custom tags are available in this particular URI. I'm having, or I'm maintaining all my custom tags there. Okay, so custom tags. After that, so where you want to use that particular tag. Okay, so where you want to use that particular tag, so that prefix you have to provide here. This is not a demo. So here what is my prefix here? So here my prefix is a Amar. Here my prefix is a Amar. You have to pass here Amar. Okay, how to pass here Amar. After that you write your tag name. After that you have to write your tag name here. Like this you have to call this particular user defined tag. Okay, like this you have to call your user defined tag here. Okay, like this you have to call your user defined tag. So here first we'll see one small how this particular user defined tag is created. Okay, so here what we are doing here is we are going to creating the custom tags, right? So how we are creating a custom tag? Once your project creation is done, so we are creating. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are creating a JSP project in NetBeans, right? So once your project creation is done, so what you will get, one project folder will be created in your NetBeans. One project folder will be created in your NetBeans, right? In this particular project folder, we are having the web.inf folder is there. In this particular web.inf folder, so we are having the web.xml. Okay, so we are having the web.xml file is there. In a web.xml file is, if you are creating any custom files, you are creating any custom library, custom tags, so it will create one more folder here. It will create one more folder, that is a custom tag library folder. It will be created. Okay, it will be created custom tag libraries. Okay, inside that only we are having one file. Inside that we are having the one file. What is that file name? Your file name dot tag library descriptor. The file name extension is the tag library descriptor. Okay, TLD, tag library descriptor. This is the extension for the storing all your custom related tags. Okay, so in this particular file only we are maintaining the maintaining our custom tags. Okay, in this particular TLD is similar to your web.xml file only. It is similar to your web.xml. so whatever you are defining in this particular TLD, all these will be reflected to your all other JSP pages. Okay, JSP pages. So how you have to define here? So for if you are writing one tag here, you are writing one tag, or you are defining your own tag. Okay, first what you have to define here, first you have to give some name for that particular tag. Okay, after that which method you have to use. Okay, so in which language we are implementing this particular JSP program? We are implementing this particular JSP programming in a Java language, right? We are implementing this particular JSP program in a Java language. So here we are taking the help of the Java language and we are writing the code for that, and we are writing the class file for tag. We are writing the one class file for that particular tag. Clear? Or you can recall your custom exceptions are there. So there what we are doing there, so we are writing our own exceptions in Java language. I am talking about in Java. So we are writing, or we are developing some custom exceptions, right? So what we are doing there, so we are defining our custom exception and we are extending that particular custom exception to the exception class. Okay, after that we are writing our own custom exceptions and we are calling all those custom exception classes in our program. And here also same. So here also same, first you define your custom tag information, custom tag class you have to write. Okay, so for that what we are doing, so we are extending to the for that what I am doing here is I am extending to the simple tag exception or simple tag support, not exception, simple tag support class is there. So I'm extending to that particular simple class tag. Okay, I'm extending to that particular simple tag support. Okay, in that particular super class only we are having the all custom related information will be available, custom tag related information will be available there. Okay, after your extension is over, so we are having the do tag method is there. Do tag method is there. Whatever the information you want, you can write your information here. For example, if you want, whenever you are calling your tag, what is my tag here? My tag is a Amar welcome, and it's a closed tag. Clear? So whenever you are calling this particular tag will print some information. What that information? Welcome. It will print some information welcome in large font size. Clear? That information you have to define in your do tag method. You have to override that particular do tag method. Okay, once your override is over, so now what you have to do here? Once your override is over, you have to call this particular class, tag class in your TLD. Okay, you have to call that particular class in your tag library descriptor. This particular class library descriptor, you have to call that particular class. How to call here? So here you are having all information will be by default, all information will be available there. So your URI information also available. After that you have to open your tag. This is a custom tag. Open your tag and close your tag. Open your tag and close your tag. After that, here you have to mention your name. Tag name. Name is nothing but you have to provide the tag name. So here you have to provide your tag name here. Here you have to provide your tag name. What is my tag name here? Welcome. What is my tag name here? Welcome. My tag name is a welcome here. After that you have to provide the class name. Class name here. So what is my class name here? Whatever the class name you are using here, that class name you have to provide here. Okay, that class name you have to provide here. So whenever class name you have to provide here. Once this particular TLD construction is over, after that the Java file construction is over, then only you go to your JSP file and you call your custom tag there. How to call your custom tag? Before your tag name, first you have to define the prefix. With the help of that particular prefix only you can call or you can access this particular custom tag in your JSP file. Clear? After that you right click on your file and try to execute that particular file. Okay, right click and try to execute that particular file and you will get in your browser, you will get your output. Clear? You will get your output. That is about the custom tags. That is about the custom tags. That is about the custom tag. So next one is the sharing the data between JSP pages. So next topic is sharing the data between the JSP pages. So sharing the data between the JSP pages means what? In any real application consists of more than a single page and multiple pages often need to access some information and server side resources. Clear? So for example, so we are having the page 1 is there. In page 1 we are accessing the data. So we are accessing some data. Okay, in some page 2 is there. In that particular same page 2, what we are doing here, we are accessing the data and here what we are doing, on the same data we are using for the printing information or we are displaying the data. Clear? So we are having the two pages are there. In one page we are accessing the data. In second page what we are doing, so we are taking that particular data and we are printing that particular information in another page. Means what here? So we are talking about the two pages or two JSP pages in one application. So here what we are doing, one page is used for the collecting the user information and another page we are using for the displaying the information. Clear? Another page we are using for the displaying the information. Clear? So here how these two pages are communicating, how these two pages are communicating, how these two pages are sharing the data. Okay, that we are going to discuss here, that we are going to discuss in this particular sharing data between the JSP pages, sharing data between the JSP pages. Or the better example is you are using some social network, right? So before entering into that particular social network, what you are doing, you are giving your username and password there. Okay, you are giving your username and password, and with the help of that particular username and password, what you are doing, whether if your username and password is correct, then only you are going to the next page, that is called the home page. So here login page is there. In that particular login page, what you are collecting here, you are collecting the username and password. With the help of that particular username and password, so what we are doing here, so we are entering into the home page. Okay, we are entering into the home page. That is one example. You can take the another example. You can take the e-commerce website are there, or take the Amazon website. Our website is there. So in this particular Amazon website, what we are doing, so just we are adding our products to the cart. We are adding products to the cart page, right? Whenever clicking on that particular ad, that particular product will be added to your cart. Clear? Immediately you are not purchasing, or immediately you are not doing the payment there. Again, what you are doing, again you are searching for some other items, right? Again you are searching for some other item, means what you are going to some other page. You are going to some other page. In that particular page, what you are getting the same information. Whatever you are having that particular previous page, that information will be reflected on your second page also, or that particular cart information will not be changing. Means what here, page 1 is there and page 2 is there. You are in page 1, you did the adding the cart information. In page 2, you can access that cart information. Means what here, page 1 and page 2 are sharing the data here. Okay, page 1 and page 2 are sharing the data. So how this particular page 1 and page 2 are sharing the data? Okay, all those things we'll see in this particular sharing the data between the JSP pages. So here for handling that, we are having the two types are there. First one is we are passing the control from one page to the another page, and we are passing the data from one page to the another page. First we are passing the control. Once the passing the control is done, then we are sharing the data, or then only we are passing the data from one page to the another page. Clear? So that is what we are going to talk in this particular sharing the data between the JSP pages. Okay, so before going for sharing the data between the pages, first we have to look at the MVC architecture. Okay, first we have to see the MVC architecture. What is this particular MVC architecture? M means what? Model. M means what? Model. V means what? View. C means what? Controller. C means what? Controller. So here MVC architecture is nothing but M means what? Model, view, controller. Model, view, controller here. So here we are having the model is in this particular model what we are maintaining here. So here we are maintaining the data in. Okay, we are maintaining the data. So how you are going to store that particular data in a database? Okay, all those classes and methods are available in this particular model. Okay, so next one is a view is there. So view is nothing but how you are going to present that presentation information. Okay, that presentation information is available in this particular view layer. Okay, in this for presentation layer. So for presentation, what type of technologies we are using? So we are using the HTML. We can use a HTML, or we can use a JSP, or we can use a PHP for displaying the data on your client machine, or for viewing the data on your client machine, or in a web browser. For that we are using the different types of technologies. Okay, and we are saying that is called the view, or that is called the presentation layer. Okay, so between your model and the presentation, you are having the one more layer is there, that is called the controller. Okay, that is called the controller. So with the help of this particular controller only, we are moving the data between the model and the view. Okay, we are moving the data between the model and the view. Okay, this particular controller controls the data. This particular controller controls the data between the model and the view. So here model means what? Nothing but your database. So model is nothing but your database, and your control, your view is nothing but your presentation layer or your web browser. Okay, so here whenever you clicking on that particular button, so what you are getting some data, right? How you are getting the data? So that particular information will go to the controller. So controller will take that information and it will pass to the model. So model will verify the data and it will give us some response back to your presentation layer or the particular view layer. Okay, so there we are displaying the data. This entire thing is controlled by your controller layer or that particular middle layer. Clear? So model is there, view is there, controller is there. Okay, so here this particular model contains the data related information. Okay, some storing purpose we are using the control model, and for controller we are using the for controlling the data between the view and the model. And view we are using for the presenting the data on a browser. For that we are using the view. Clear? So that is about the MVC architecture. Okay, that is about the MVC architecture. And this particular MVC architecture, it differentiates the, okay, this particular MVC architecture. So here M means what? Here we are having the model, right? We are having the model, view, and this is a controller. Okay, with the help of this particular MVC architecture, so what we are doing here is, or what this particular MVC architecture is doing here is, it differentiates the business logic from the presentation. It differentiates the business logic from presentation. Business logic from the presentation, right here. So we are having the business logic, what that particular logic we are maintaining in this particular model, right? Okay, it differentiates the business logic from the presentation. So in that particular presentation we are using the view. Okay, we are using the view. So with the help of the view only, what we are doing, we are presenting the data. Okay, we are presenting the data or we are displaying the data. For that we are using the view. Okay, so for that we are using the view. This particular MVC architecture, it differentiates the business logic from the presentation, or it separates the business logic from the presentation. For that only we are using this particular MVC architecture in our JSP. Okay, see in our JSP what we are having the presentation layer is there, and also we are having the logic layer is there, that particular business logic layer is there. Okay, so business logic layer means what? So whatever the classes are required, all those classes we are implementing there. Okay, so here with the help of this particular MVC architecture, so what we are doing here, we are differentiating the presentation logic from the business logic. Okay, so that's why we are using this particular JSP, that's why we are using this particular MVC architecture in our JSP program. Clear? So this is about the MVC architecture. In coming session we'll talk about the how to pass a control from one page to the another page, and how to pass the data between the one JSP page to the another JSP page. Okay, we'll see all these things in a coming session. So thank you.